Hey, Trey Lewellen here with another episode of Kommerce Kings, number 5, I believe. So we're going to be talking about something really crazy today. I'm actually going to reveal someone to you today. She's here. She's live. It's ready to rock and roll. We're going to have a lot of fun. Her name's Kim Doyal. She is the Oz behind the curtain, where has changed my life dramatically. Like, you have people that have a pivotal point in your life that you're going down this track, and then they come into your life and they're like, oh, hey, what's up? And you're like, and you scoot to this next ravine. You're like, holy smokes, the grass is so much greener over here. And so anyways, before anything, I want to introduce Kim Doyal. Say hello, Kim, to everybody.
What's up, everybody? Trey, I'm totally excited to do this with you. I have so much fun with you.
We do have a lot of fun. Like, we've been to Hawaii together. We've been to Utah together. We've done all kinds of crazy events. We've even oh man, what did we do together? What is that? Skyline? Not Skyline, but
zip line.
Zip line. You did the whole like Superman, and
Crash.
That was amazing.
Hot air balloon.
Oh man, that was amazing. And we had a really good tour guide. But anyways, we've been in masterminds together. So I'm going to tell the story. I don't care. I hope you don't mind.
No, I'm vulnerable. Hit it.
So I was actually in a really deep spot in our business. And we were selling t-shirts. We were trying to get off of a t-shirt platform. We tried to build our own website, and I paid like $5,000 for this website, and it totally bombed. And I quit my job. Bryson had quit his job, my partner, into where it was like we were literally screwed, to be really frank. Like, I was like, holy smokes, we're going down in the deep end. Like, this is not good. And I don't know if I just called you up, Kim, or like why the conversation even happened. But I was on the call with Kim, and I was like down in the dumps, and I was totally being negative. Like, we just jumped off this t-shirt thing, and now I can't get one to launch. This website just did, like, I'm gonna have to go back to work. It's gonna be awful. And I think like with a flip of the wrist, she's like, oh, well, that's cool. Have you looked in this thing called Clickfunnels? And I was like, what's Clickfunnels? And you're like, oh, this guy named, Russell Brunson invented it. It's kind of cool. And so I was like, well, I'll check it out. So I went over, signed up, and the rest is history, like where we started building all these funnels out. But interesting fact for you, Kim, is I think they looked up my number. I am one of the first, I don't know, probably maybe the first 100 people to have signed up for ClickFunnels. They said I was actually like one of those randoms that just kind of came in. And that was like my story, but they didn't know my story, my background, because that was when they were having trouble selling ClickFunnels. They didn't know if it was going to be a success. And a referral is the best, right? So you're like, you need to go sign up for ClickFunnels, and I did. And who knew?
I don't think I gave you an affiliate link, though. So that's the biggest depressing
the biggest mistake you've ever made. You're like, I take out their churn rate by so much percentage because we've never stopped churning through their continuity. We'll hook that up. I'll call ClickFunnels.
Call Russell. Okay.
I think I'm supposed to be on somebody's affiliate link. Here's who you need to give credit to.
It was so depressing. I was like, how did I not do that? And I should have followed up, and hook me up.
We'll make something happen. We'll make something happen, because that literally, like, if I go back when so I had a mentor named Michael Mayer, and he wrote the book 7 Levels of Communication, and he talks about your I don't know what he calls it, but he's like your vine of influence. And what you do is you take every decision that you've made through life, like those big changes, and you go back and see, okay, how was that influence? Like, why did that person exist in your life? And then who do you have to thank for it? And he uses that as a referral chain. That's what he calls it, referral chains. I use it as my life chain. Mm-hmm. And I look back, I'm like, if I never knew you, like, I don't know if I would have ever found ClickFunnels. I might have done, I might be a loan officer today. I don't know. So whereas
I doubt that, but
you never know. You don't know.
True.
You're on a train or something silly. But the thing is it's crazy. Is like, I wouldn't have known you if I didn't know, Tony. And I wouldn't have known Tony if I didn't go to traffic and conversion. I wouldn't have gone traffic conversion if I didn't know this guy. And so it's so cool to follow that chain up to what led me to you, which led to that decision, which led to everything we have.
Yeah.
Like, pretty crazy, right? Like,
well, I'm like, that is pretty. I'm like, that's pretty cool.
You influence that. Like, you influence what we have. It's pretty amazing. And I want to give you full credit for that, because that's exactly what you did. And
thanks, Trey.
This is huge vine. So anyways, guys, follow Kim. She's amazing. She'll give you crazy suggestions that'll change. I can content to that. So anyways, I want to talk about what you're up to, what you've been up to, what you're doing. Because it's been, a year since I've heard of you or seen you. And so I was like, what's Kim up to anyways? Like, she's got to be doing some crazy stuff. So tell these guys like what you're up to, and then we're going to deep dive into some pretty cool stuff.
So this is actually year 9 for me in my business. And it was, I would say there's a lot of happy accidents that came across, but the last year and a half, I kind of stepped back from everything. I had done the masterminds. I had done these high ticket podcasts done for you services. We were doing websites at an outsourcing company. And I just was like, I don't want to build other people's businesses. I want to build mine, and like even the WordPress chick, right? So coming up with that, I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew it was a good domain name like 9 years ago. But again, I didn't want to get stuck in how to do this and how to do that. And no offense, but people in the WordPress space tend to not, like they complain about $100 a year license renewal, right? And I'm like, yeah, that's not a business model. So the last year and a half, and part of it I have to contribute to is I hired Jason Hornung last year.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Yep. And it was the first time I'd gotten really profitable. Like he helped me do I did his, I don't even know if he's doing anymore, but his done with you service, like you go and spend a few days with him. So he totally, like he sent me back this like 20, 30-minute video where he mapped out what I was doing, my messaging. I was like, what are KPIs, right? He's like, what are they? I'm like, I don't know. So he totally helped me do that.
Performance indexer or indicator.
Yeah, actually I knew what they were, but I hadn't set them up because it was like, I didn't have anything super solid, right? Because we had this, like my income at the time was coming through the outsourcing and websites. I had it dialed in, but I also had a ton of overhead for something I didn't want to do. So that was dumb. But it was really working with Jason, and I was kind of in awe of how he ran his business. The guy's got a ton of integrity.
Yeah.
And he's super focused.
Great hair.
He's got great hair.
I mean,
how can you complain about great hair?
Yeah.
But it was, so that kind of shifted it. And I watched how he had gone back and like studied great direct response marketing, like from the 50s and 60s. And he really had this solid understanding. And it was like, so I stepped back and went through all kinds of personal stuff last year. I sold my house, just like I needed to regroup essentially. And so I started doing I loved creating content. I've had the podcast for 4 years now. And it was like, I need to go back to fundamentals. So I just started daily emails, massive content, daily emails. But it really wasn't until last fall, actually like a year ago, I'd connected with this developer. Again, because it's kind of funny. Like I've got the WordPress Chick podcast, and I talk more about marketing and using WordPress as a business platform, not how to do this. But I've got this huge platform, so I share a lot of stuff in the space, right? And so he reached out to me and was like, hey, do you want to, they had their plugins in a different platform. Can you promote them? Blah, blah, blah. We hit it off. He's funny as all get out. Like he's based in Croatia. They've done like hundreds of plugins. We started working on a plugin together. And I was just like, pardon me?
That's cool.
Well, it is. He was like, do you have any ideas? And I was like, well, yeah, because I kind of wanted to do like a good checkout page for WordPress, so that it looked like Sam Carter. It looked like ClickFunnels. But again, people in the WordPress space are used to free. So I was like, I don't want to do this. So I came across this opt-in. It was Stu McLaren's site. And it was like this 4-step, you click the button, a little modal window opens up. And he asks you like 3 or 4 questions. Like, tell us about your business. How big is your email list? What social platforms are you on? And then you just give your email. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God. I like
how he did it in reverse.
Yeah.
Because usually, so I'll tell you this. This is really, really cool because this brings up a really, really good topic of what I've researched. So we run a masterclass of one of our products that we sell, and I go out and hack like all these different offers online. And one of those offers was a Beachbody offer, T25. And I was going through the offer. It took me about a half an hour to go through the whole thing, like all the upsells, downsells. And there was some really, really good stuff in there. But it wasn't until the thank you page to where after I checked out, after I went through the upsells, after the order confirmation, on the order confirmation page, after they showed me how much I purchased, was when I had to stare at it for at least a good 45 minutes I just wanted to embrace it. Because it was so fantastic. I was like, this is absolutely amazing. And what it was tell us a little bit more about you. And it was things such as how many pounds are you wanting to lose? 5, 10, 15, 20. How did you, think to purchase this? And my favorite question, which was, out of all the ways you heard of us, which one made you buy?
Oh, gold.
That was amazing. And because it was like, was it TV? Was it radio? Was it a magazine? Was it a referral? Because with that, if they see that, oh, wow, look, 90% or 80% of the people that are coming in are buying because of our TV ads, well, what's that tell them to do?
Run more money on TV.
Run more ads on TV. I'm like, this is amazing. And so I'm just sitting there, like, just, like I said, embracing it. And people are coming by like, what are you looking at? I'm like, don't, shh. I'm just taking this in right now because this is how amazing this is. And so what you're getting to is the same thing that I took in. So guys that you're listening right now, like, make sure you understand this is powerful stuff, because what Beachbody is able to do is go out and be like, subject line, are you looking to lose, insert pounds here, weight? Like, how amazing is that to be able to do something like that? It's just super powerful. So you're thinking, you saw Stu McLaren, you saw him doing a survey in front, and then what happened?
Well, then I tried to like backwards engineer it, right? I've got developers and we saw what they had done. So we could have put it on my site quickly, but I was like, I am a total software geek. Who would have thought, right? But I love to play with stuff. And so I was like, I want to make this. So then I started like trying to put Thrive leads and gravity forms and do all this stuff. And I was like, this isn't working. And I asked one of the developers, I was like, can we make a plugin? And so I think I have like Simple Survey plugin or something. I've got those domains too, right? But he was like, yeah, but this, because here's the deal. It also has to integrate with all the, like, it's going to have to integrate with ClickFunnels. It needs to integrate with, we'll start with like 5 or 6 native email autoresponders, Zapier, so we'll probably start with Zapier. But the point is, I was just like, this is a web app. Like, this is gold. And let me back up a smidge here too, Trey, because it's like, I think there's a little bit of a, not like a banner blindness, but it's like, okay, let me opt in to get your ebook, right? Yes. And so then there's quizzes. Quizzes will do like a total mind tweak on you because first of all, it has to be good, right? Yeah. Otherwise, I mean, and if you're going, there's got to be a little bit of an entertainment value there. But if you're not funny or good at copy or good at writing, they're a shit ton of work. Sorry. they're just a ton of work to put together. And then if nobody signs up, you're like, okay, well that sucked, right? And so I think you've got the first point of it's different. So people are going to go through it because, I haven't seen this before, right? So there's that. Yeah. And then again, it's so simple, just a few questions. And all of a sudden it's like, bam, you've got all of this information at point of contact. And so this was probably last November. And so Gordon and I are working on this other thing for WordPress. I'm like, so what are your thoughts about a web app? And I mean, like, I couldn't have painted a better picture for this, Trey. We're literally, he's very much like, Russell's whole, we didn't cheat and take venture capital. He's like, this is not a startup. We're not taking anyone's money. They've got everything in-house. He knew enough to call Pagely and set up all the servers and he connected everything. Wow. I get to build the brand and do the marketing and use my audience and all that kind of stuff. And so it's just like, I think there's a ton of magic that can happen here. And it's like, even if you don't know what to do on the back end yet, it's like start segmenting. And then you'll also be able to segment based on triggers and emails. So it's not just for new subscribers. Okay. So first off, what I think is really cool about it is the best thing we've been experimenting with, and to where we're getting leads like extremely cheap right now, is seeing if they qualify. So I think that's a great way to maybe start is, do you qualify for this download? And, like using that language? Yeah. Using the do you qualify for this download? And then in the survey, like, who are you? Are you a podcaster? Are you a listener? Are you a iTunes guy? And then next question, like, what's your income? What is your favorite thing to do on Saturday? And they submit, and then depending on what happens, like, hey, you're qualified, or hey, you're not qualified. But what I like about it then is you still got that information. And so what you're saying is your app will be, or your plugin. Is the plugin or app? No, it's an app. I think we'll have a WordPress plugin for people that don't want to do the copy and paste of the code. Yeah. But no, it's a web app. It's so that it's going to be used on anything. It's not just a WordPress. Oh, that's very nice. Yeah. So then in that case, yeah, that can plug into your email responder, and then boom, from there on you have insert field, and that's a beautiful thing right there because it's more personalized. It's way more personalized. And again, and it's kind of, so then the thing that I'm fascinated with, again, I sound like I've totally drank ClickFunnels Kool-Aid recently. And I know we're going to talk about the book, but it's paying attention to, like, I'm in awe of, like we were talking before, like how does one company create like a total relationship and a movement? I don't want to be just a software tool. I don't want to do that. Like, I want to be a part of people's business, right? We want this to be like, you automatically use this, and it'll replace all of your opt-ins. Like, you can do just a plain opt-in too, right? But I think, there's a lot of tools out there where it's like you can change the content based on who's visiting, or like you go back and it's like, hey, Trey, thanks for coming. Last time you were interested in this. Like, I think for e-commerce, can you imagine if it was like, last time you were here, you bought a pair of women's boots. Did you see what's new? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of magic there, but it's just like, it's been fascinating doing this. Cause like, I had no idea, right? Like, I create a ton of content. I like building an audience. I like WordPress, but it was like, how do you figure out, like, I had no idea the cost of every ping to the server or what that looks like every time something has to load. So it's been a total like eye-opening thing for me. And so I'm just sharing the journey. That's all the content we're doing right now. So I'm like,
any hurdles along the way of like kind of putting this together? Because it's been going on for a year and a half now. That's
oh no, this was just November.
Oh, it was November. Oh,
2016. Okay. No, the year and a half has just been Kim's like, what am I doing with my business story?
Oh, and then you found this really cool app that you're like, I need to build this because of good old Stu. Because Stu McLaren, I will give him credit when it's out. And again, like, how do you paint a better picture? Somebody who's already done development, has a support team, and knows how to take care of it. I was like, this is gold, right? What was your question again? I'm just surprised you didn't call the app Stu.
Stew me.
Stew up some leads today. Stew up some of this goodness, because that's the undertaking of how this thing came apart. And Mr. McLaren, yes, it was because of you. Yeah,
I'll get him on the new podcast for sure when we're out.
That'd be a big surprise. Like, he doesn't even know. Like,
he has no idea, because this is the first time I've shared that he's the influence.
Oh wow! So he doesn't even know yet. Hopefully, maybe he'll not watch this, and then he'll watch yours and be surprised. And you'll be like,
we'll figure it out.
Like, how cool would that be? Like, the big reveal is, by the way, you were the influence. You were the reason why I built this, and I named it too.
Well, even that, I was like, how is it lead surveys is even available? Like, is it, I mean, not .com, it's .io. Yeah. I was like, how come somebody hasn't done this? It kind of surprised me. Like, it seems so logical to me. So the hurdles have been, it always takes longer than you expect, right?
Yep,
And so, like, my business partner, they had to finish up. They had done a lot of white labeling for some JB Zoo stuff, which he doesn't ever want his name attached to, just because of the way they market. And so he had committed a year ago to finish something up. So it was like waiting for that. And, I've just been watching people, how they pre-sell software and how they do stuff. So there's just always, and for me, it was more of finding my voice and finding, like, I'm not a segmentation expert, but I so get the power of it. So it's like massive learning, massive studying, and finding out how to communicate the value of it while getting the buy-in when it doesn't exist yet.
So do you have any numbers on segmentation of why it is so important through an email list?
It's so funny is I'm working on this Segmentation Secrets to do. So
cool.
There's one of them, God, I don't have it, but so bear with me. And I think it was through, HubSpot maybe. HubSpot has this amazing, and I'll send you the link for when this goes live, but they have this amazing page that they update consistently with stats and data on email marketing, content, all of it, everything in our space, right?
Oh, wow.
And personalized marketing tends to get like a 60% more, not click-through rate, but it converts 60% better than non-personalized marketing.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's amazing.
And so I'll give you the specific stat on that for this. But so all of that, the thing with segmentation is, again, it's like, how many people, I don't know what your click-through rate is with emails and stuff, but again, I email every day. I usually get a response every day from somebody, because it's like a story. I just do this little story and then there's a link, right? And I followed, do you know who Ben Settle is? Ben Settle, you would like his business model, actually. He is big with email marketing and copy. And I probably subscribed to him for like a year before I became a customer. He has a $97 a month paper newsletter. Hold on. I have it here. He totally. Well, yeah. Here you go. See this? It's email players.
Oh, that's cool.
So, but I watched him for like a year, right? And so I watched how he did this. And so it was kind of studying this whole copy piece. And so it's been a kind of a crazy journey in terms of sharing what's happening with lead surveys. I had a point and I totally lost where I was going with Ben Settle.
Well, you're going on, we were talking about personalization in the emails and then how you're putting the links in there, how you've been doing a story and email every day and you get a response from someone every day.
Yeah, so that's it. Thank you. So it was following his method. That's all he does. And it's like, he just tells a little story, but it's copy. It's really learning how to test headlines, and good copy sells.
One thing that we've noticed with like our coaching is no one comes just out of the blue and says, I'm okay paying you today to be my coach. Mm-hmm. Rarely. And if they do, we usually don't take them on, because that's kind of a scary thing anyways. But I think a lot of people think that's going to happen, or that's like the customer you want, which I don't agree that that's the customer you want anyways, because there's no like value. They don't understand you. They don't know who you are. But when we do a survey, so we do an application, and inside that application, we ask, how long have you known us? How long have you known me? And it's amazing, because the people who say, I've been following Trey for 6 months, I've been following Trey for 2 years. Mm-hmm. And it's like, for some reason, in some point of their life, like they're ready. But they weren't ready 2 years ago. They weren't ready a year ago. They weren't ready 2 months ago. It took them a year. And same thing, what's amazing about what you just said is you've been following Ben for a year, getting his emails every single day. That's 365 emails it took. Yeah. For you to say, you know what, Ben? I'm okay paying you $97 a month.
Well, totally. And I've interviewed him a couple times.
Oh, cool.
And he's one of those people that he's going to turn a lot of people off. He can be a little bit crass, but it was like, the easiest thing to me within market, I'm like, just pay attention to what people are doing. You don't necessarily have to like the verbiage, mm-hmm. but I was like, I want to see what he's going to write about every day. Right. Like, I was so curious to see, and all he sells in his emails is email players, or he's got a copywriting course, but I would say 95% of the time he's selling the exact same thing every single day.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's a little bit different, because he doesn't get into, follow-up sequences, and there's all these things that you can do with email. He's not. And I think there's a fine line between figuring out, but it's crazy because, saying like, I was really bad about emailing. Like, I didn't want to bug people.
Sure. You don't want to make money. It's okay.
Yeah. God forbid we pay the bills this month. So it was like, but as soon as I can't tell you how many people will say, I love this. Thank you for being so on. Because I just share stories. Like, here's a great little one. Because people are like, do you really write those every morning? I'm like, I do. I just come up with what's on my mind. Yeah. So sitting here working, and I hear my son coming up the stairs, and this huge crash. And I was like, and I go out, I'm like, you all right? He's like, I totally dropped my breakfast. He goes, I knew I was going to do that. I was walking up the stairs thinking, don't drop your breakfast. And so I shared that story. I'm like, how many times do we do that in our business? You go to launch something and you're like, this isn't going to work. I'm not feeling, you totally set yourself up with your mind. Yep. So I just take those stupid stories in my life, and then I put one link, call to action.
They're fantastic stories.
And people love them. They're like, thanks for being so real. Or that's so funny. I thought I was the only one who did that. And I'm like, no, or I put GIFs in all the time of like, there was one last week of like this huge Lego ball rolling and getting momentum, and then it crashed, because that's what happens to me at the end of the week. Right? I get so hyper at the beginning of the week, and I go, and then I'm like, I'm done.
It is. It's like amazing what we do as humans, but we don't think anybody else does. And then like someone comes out and says that they do it, and you're like, wow, I didn't know the world did that.
Totally.
That's amazing. Yeah. I'm trying to think of like a really good example, but I have no good examples right now. Maybe I'll come up with one. I don't know.
Well, it'll hit you. But you know what's funny? It's like, that's stuff I like doing these like real life analogies, because it finally clicked with me. I'm like, instead of being afraid that someone's going to be bugged that you're selling, I'm like, I don't owe you anything. Like, I take a little bit of Garrett's mentality, but sure. Nicer. But it's like, I don't owe you stuff. And I'm like, you don't get mad when you go into the grocery store and, it's Halloween and they've got a table of Halloween cookies on sale. Like, you don't get pissed asking for how they taste. You don't say, give me one for free before I buy it. You're like, oh, cookies, right? Or look at the checkout stands. I'm like, there's so many real life analogies that somehow people get kind of dumb when they get on the internet and think, this is my space. I'm like, well, actually, you signed up. So welcome to my world.
Welcome. Well, here we are. This is me. You can unsubscribe anytime you like. Yeah. That's really amazing as well. So email segmentation is huge. And I think the biggest step here, Kim, is maybe with Ben's example or your own examples or even our examples is email. Like when did you start emailing? Because I don't know that maybe I need to go on your list, but was there a time where you weren't emailing people and then you're like, I just need to start emailing people? Like, where was that transition and why was it so important?
It was honestly probably last August is that I started doing it, and I called it my almost daily email, because I just knew like what you're doing isn't working. So you better show up, right? Like it's time to get in front of this. You know, and I always think of what Tony said, offers, leads, and sales. I'm like, if you're not making offers, nothing's going to happen. And I'll tell you what, because at the time it's been this whole, like, what am I going to sell? What's the transition here in my business? I will literally only have like 2 things for sale when these both go live: lead surveys and the continuity through the WordPress chick. And everything through the WordPress chick will drive to that. Everything else is lead surveys. But I tripled affiliate sales for the Thrive Content Builder. They're coming out with a new one, but it was like, because I used it all the time. And so just by doing that, in like 30 days, I tripled the affiliate income from that product, from consistent email for myself.
And you just, because you were talking about how much you loved it.
Right. And the only stuff I'm an affiliate for is stuff that I use. So I just create content around it. And then I just keep driving them back to new content, or I share one of their posts, or I share an update. And I'm like, hey, if you haven't used it, check it out. Right. So it's so basic. And I was like, oh my God, this is magic.
How hard was it for you to start emailing? Like the first couple emails, like you're at a year, by the way. I don't know if you knew that. That's amazing. So do you remember how hard it was a year ago to send your first email, to like start that almost daily email trend?
Yeah, it was nerve-wracking. It wasn't like doing the content. Like I could knock a really good email out. And then what I do too is I take those emails and I put them as blog posts most of the time. Cool. Okay. So I'm also creating content and interlinking on my site. But it was just, I was so afraid people are going to unsubscribe, and oh my God, because I don't talk about the stuff that I used to in WordPress. I'm not going to teach anybody how to do anything with themes or I don't care anymore about that. There are people that do it way better than me. So I'll highlight them. Right. Yeah. But it was so nerve wracking. That's why it was almost daily email. Cause it was like, oh God. And now I'm like, I miss it. If I don't do it, like if I miss it, I'm out of town and I didn't get ahead of it. Yeah. I totally miss it. It was really hard. But after a month of that, and I started I love your emails. I've got all these screenshots of your emails are killing it. I love these. Wow. People post on Facebook. Your email today was spot on. Thank you for that. I needed that. Wow. I'm like,
so basically at first it was probably like crickets. Was it crickets or?
Yeah, it was more like, oh, how do I turn off the unsubscribe notifications? Like I didn't want to see it.
You do the dot enter dot enter. Maybe they'll never find it. I don't know. I mean, people are getting smart nowadays, so I had 3 more dots.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, no, it was nerve-wracking. It totally was. And it was crickets, but it was like, I'm like, look, everything I do now is about mastery. I want to get better at it. And so cool. It's super. And then I'll do little things like testing. So for a while I was doing like Kim Doyal - the WP chick. Now I just leave the email address. I got more opens on that. I'm like,
Sure. So you just leave Kim Doyal?
Well, you know, like the from where it shows up. Yeah. So now it says Kim@thewpchick.com instead of Kim Doyal - the WP chick.
Oh.
You know, so I was like, cool. I was like, let's see if this is, you know, because I noticed it from, there's a podcast called Unmistakable Creative with Shuni Rao, and it's really good. And I was like, oh, he did this. And I noticed that he did it. So I'm like, I'm going to try it. Open rates went up.
Well, that's
crazy.
Cool. So you figured that out, and then it's like, because it is hard to start sending in emails. So was there ever a day like you didn't send an email and you got frustrated yourself into where you're like, I don't even know what to talk about. Like, I feel like I need to write an email, but I have no clue what to send.
All the time. And so that is actually the subject line, like staring at a blank screen, like you guys, right?
And so then you blank today because I had nothing to write about. Thank you. Have a great day. Oh, by the way, check out my WordPress check site.
Yeah, check out the latest podcast episode. You know, and so here's this other thing. Like I'm kind of debating on how to do this, but I swear to God, I live by everything is content. Everything is content. Everything is content. Here's a great example. I did this little road trip to Oregon with my parents a couple weeks ago. My mom's uncle's estate settled and they needed to bring a car back, and I'm like, I'll go with you guys, right? So I was totally intending, I'm like, I'm going to video this trip with my parents, which I was kind of out of it, but whatever. But I did a couple things. I was talking in the car and I said something about, so I sent an email about the WP parents, right? So the WP chick. That's my cool. Dad, after 9 years in business, goes, what's WP? I'm all, thanks for paying attention, Dad. It's been 9 years. Right? And I'm like, that's content. So I told that story. Right. And so It's like, and people get it. Cause how many people like in your real life are like, what is it you do? Like you sell stuff online, like you make websites. What do you do? They don't get it.
It's hard.
Right.
Yep.
So I was like, even my family still doesn't get what I do.
They have no clue. And that's amazing. You know, that's okay. Cause I want to hit back on something that you kind of like dripped on us real quick, and it was the point of storytelling, to where all your emails are stories. And one thing I learned a while back, I don't know if I was reading a book or I don't even know, but what I learned was when you tell stories, kind of like we're doing right now, is the mind syncs up. The synchronization between you and I are aligned, and in the people listening right now. When you tell a story, there's something that happens with the frequency of the brain to where it locks into the same frequency. But then as soon as you go to a teaching method, or you start going off on a different tangent, the sequence goes out of line to where that's when you like zone off. Like you'll be to where, like, a great example, the best example that I can do, because everybody can relate for the most part, is church. Like, church is the best example of that, to where, like, I'll be listening and then all of a sudden I'll be zoned off, like, oh, you know, what am I doing? Get back on target. But as soon as he starts telling a story, I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. Like, what?
Totally.
And so I'm totally focused in. And then he goes, and then he's like, and that's why it deals with Corinthians. And then he starts going, I'm like, oh, okay, well, you know, why does that happen? But the stories are so intriguing, and it's because of that frequency that just locks in to where stories, and that's, if you ever go to like an event, and you'll probably bring back the stories more than you will the learning.
The strategies or tactics, right?
Strategy or tactics. Like, I don't know what I learned, but he told this hilarious story, or this funny ass joke that was so great. Like, I gotta tell it to you, because that was worth the ticket price. And then you got to go refer to your notes for the actual. Yeah, you're right. The tactics and the strategies. And so I think that's the clever idea, or the secret that you've kind of landed on, which is with your emails. You're telling stories about your son coming up the stairs with a cereal bowl, and he's like, oh, I knew I was going to spill it, but I still went up those stairs. I mean, you know, I still went for it. And
totally.
So that's why it connects, and it's a beautiful thing. So guys, I mean, writing emails, listening from Kim, is tell the stories. And I think a lot of setback from a lot of people might be is they're not yet comfortable, because we're internet marketers, to relay our story, to tell who we are, because we are afraid. We're afraid of rejection. You're afraid of the unsubscribe button. Like, who the heck's this lady talking about her freaking cereal? Like, you know, like, exit. Versus, you wouldn't think they'd be like, oh wow, and they're printing it out, like reading your story. Like, we had people do that. Like, we'll send them articles or like our content in our email, and months will go by, like months, and all of a sudden we'll receive a letter, like a written letter.
Oh my gosh!
The printout with the date, like their printer's so old still, because it shows like the date that it. Oh. And so we get that, and we see what and it's like, hey, I really enjoyed this article. It's amazing. Where can I find more? Can you mail me some? And it's just, wow, like, people are printing out our content and putting on their refrigerator, or putting on their, you know, their reading manual, or whatever. And it's just an amazing thing, to where, you know, you could, I think that'd be a great book that you could probably push out someday, which is The Almost Daily. And that's a fantastic title. Like, I wrote it down because I thought it was hilarious. The Almost Daily by Kim Doyal.
Like, I got to write it down too.
Yeah. 365 days minus a couple. Stories that I, you know, of my life, and to where, like, I became who I am. And what a great story that you're starting to go over, of like how you've come where you are. Like, you sold your house, you got rid of a couple things, you like said, I'm totally done doing this service thing. And then to now where it's like, I got an app that I'm building, I'm ready to launch, like, it's going to be amazing. I'm totally confident in this. I'm full frontal, like, let's go ride it, rock and roll. And I'm excited for it. Like, I think this is going to be huge. I love surveys. I think it's fantastic. Is there like a pre-launch, like how, like a way for people to like sign up and say, hey, like, let me know? Did you do that?
Yeah. So on the site, it's just leadsurveys.io.
It's not stu.io?
Nope. It's leadsurveys.io. So you can, if you sign up there, I'm going to be doing a pre-sale webinar the week, probably the 24th of August. So I'll do the live webinar there. And so what we're doing, it's like a 30% discount for life on your account. Yep. There's a couple bonuses, and then we're going to do personal onboarding. We only want 25 founders, because so it's going to be a one-on-one where we create your survey with you. And so that's it. Like, I'm going to create content around every single founder and every case study, like their story of what they were doing before, how we set this up, and then we'll track it and measure it. So yeah, you know, I was going to tell you too, the one thing I'm going to just jump back to the storytelling and sort of this focus is that it's like who you become in the process is priceless. I can't tell you what it's done for my confidence. And I'm not a super shy person, but like when it comes to marketing in my business now, I'm like, got it. Just totally got it. Because I've shown myself how much better I've gotten at it. I get the responses. I'm super consistent. And so who you become in the process is amazing.
That is cool. It is true. I totally agree with you. And man, what was I gonna hit on? Because you mentioned another thing. I was like, oh, that's a beautiful thing. Shoot. Because we've covered so much. Like it's amazing of all the stuff that we've covered. Where I'm trying to find my lost thought. Because I was trying to see if Stu.io was available. So I'm like, dang it.
Yeah.
But the onboarding. You holy smokes, to where I think you don't even know. You don't even know right now how much onboarding is going to change your business model. Mm-hmm. When we do onboarding now, and we went from, here's what we went from, is people not knowing how to log in, calling in and canceling. Like these are all cancellations requests.
Is this for your membership or your coaching?
Yeah, our community program. Mm-hmm. And so to where they're calling in, they're like, I don't know how to log in. I never got links. I don't even know what you offer. I don't know what I'm signed up for. Crazy stuff, right? And it's like, wow, we showed you how to do all this. We had videos, we had emails go out, all this stuff. The one thing that we changed or we added was an onboarding team. Mm-hmm. And the only reason that we added an onboarding team, Kim, was because of our CRM. When we logged into our CRM, they onboarded us. They did exactly what you just said. They made sure that the CRM is all set up, ready to go. Mm-hmm. And it's like, holy smokes, like that's amazing. And we've stuck with them ever since, to where now we do onboarding. Mm-hmm. And we've gone from like those cancellation requests to now people are calling in and saying how joyful they are and how excited they are and loving the content and being thrilled that they're a member. It was a total like 180 shift. Mm-hmm. It was absolutely astonishing. Like to this day, it boggles my mind. But frankly, most people won't do onboarding. When it's not cost effective, it costs a lot of money. You need someone there just calling everybody who becomes a member, which can be daunting. And it's like something that a lot of people just want memberships, right? They just want members. They want that recurring income, but they don't want to put the work forward. And in Think and Grow Rich, I mean, Napoleon talks about you can't reap anything when you don't sow.
Totally.
Is what he talks about, Mm-hmm. And so going through the motions and making sure that we're putting those onboarding in places, like your business will skyrocket because of that. Because of that onboarding. It is to this day something that a lot of companies do not do. And it's so fresh, it's so new. It's like thank you cards. Like no one does thank you cards.
Right.
And that's the next thing we're doing. We're going to have our onboarding team send out thank you cards.
That, it's funny. It's like, I look at like, why did I sign back up for Funnel U? Right. I'm like, I like getting stuff in the mail. I know it is. Yeah. And people don't do it, but it's that whole idea of feeling like you're a part of something, right? Yep. So when you feel connected and that there's somebody to talk to and like, it's an example, like with lead service, it's like, how can these founders feel like they're a core part of this company? Like without them, like we don't have a foundation, right? Like, mm-hmm. I mean, the app is up there like to log in and stuff, but it's like, I want their feedback. Obviously like Gordon keeps telling me, don't promise features for version 0, be careful, so it's like, what is it you guys want? Help us shape this. And then just communicating, we were talking about like what to share and how to be vulnerable. I always say like baby step. So this is super easy for me with lead surveys because I've done it through the WordPress chick. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've poured my heart out. I've said when stuff is hard. I've said, people are also really happy to celebrate your wins when you share the losses once in a while too. So you baby step into it. But that onboarding, I'm like, again, not to be the Kool-Aid drinker, but I look at lead pages. I'm like, they blew it. Like they had the market. How does this guy have something so phenomenal through Clickfunnels? Because people they identify, right? They become a part of something. And so it's like, how do you do that? And if it means onboarding, and here's the truth, Trey, like, I don't know what this looks like yet, right? It's going to be scary. So we'll go through this with each founder. And then how do we bring people on when we're self-funding everything? This is we're not getting investments and stuff. And so I think it's honestly just communicating. totally communicating about, it was an episode, I think, of Marketing Secrets where Russell was talking about how people complain that their support isn't live on the weekends and this kind of stuff and that kind of stuff. And it's like, good problem to have, right? To have such big growth that you can't support it quick enough. Yeah. But it's just being transparent. It's like, God, we're figuring this out, guys. We're working on this. Thank you for your patience. That's it. And so I think the onboarding, it totally made me think of, have you seen, and I'll get the link for you. It's called Bonjoro, I think, Bonjoro. It's an app where everybody who opts in can get a personal video from you via email. Like, hey, Trey, thanks for signing up, right? Yeah. And so it's see, again, and that all circles back to personalized marketing.
Oh, that's pretty sweet. I think I've heard something like that. Yeah. I think I've heard something like that. That's amazing. But no, like to give Russell like total like kudo points, it cracks me up because Cloudflare will go down, right? Mm-hmm. And then of course Clickfunnels will go down. And so then of course they're in that group, and all it takes is one person to be like, hey, broken link or whatever, and then also it's like rainfall, and to where the people are like, arg, and oh my gosh, I'm losing money, and this is the perfect time for it to go down. Like, I've just spent so much money on ads, and it's like all this hate or hurt comes in, and then all of a sudden like Russell comes in, boop. He's like the troll, right? Like like sparkles, like where he's like he brings in the sparkle. He's like, hey guys, we know it's broke. We're on it, fixing. And then after that comment, it's like, we love you. You're amazing. Like, it's nothing to, like what I said on top of that. Don't worry about it. Like,
we're still friends. I'm keeping my account.
And it's amazing because it's a cult. Like, it's a culture that he's built, and it's amazing to watch. And I love watching it. And if we could have like a quarter of what he has with ClickFunnels for our continuity, holy smokes. Like, it'll change because then, like, he's built that to where they're not going to go, and if someone comes up with a new gadget that may be one a little bit better, like they're so solely dedicated to ClickFunnels that they're not going to leave that,
Well, yeah, people, it's when you get to that point where it's not about pricing and like why you're loyal to certain things and where, it's so different because again, there's that buy-in and there's that connection and people like feeling like they're a part of something. That's why the daily emails work too, right? It was like, I had this gal that she hired me to review. She wants me to teach a class on daily emails. I was like, I guess I could do that. But so I said, look, I'll review like 5 of your emails. And she sent me her first one, and she does she's got like a stamping business, right? So she creates cards and stuff. And she was talking about how someone had sent her this personalized card. And so she did this. She said it was like being a little kid when you get something in the mail from your grandma. I instantly pictured getting cards from my grandmother. She always wrote in turquoise pen, right? And I was like, so I totally connected with this grandmother piece. And so I was like, I would lead with that, like set them up. Remember when you used to get cards in the mail from your grandmother, blah, blah, So shifting that. But again, I totally connected with her. So all of marketing is connection.
It is. It really is. Like, we're still human.
Mm-hmm.
We're still human. But Kim, how do these guys get a hold of you? And then we're going to switch over to behind the scenes where we're going to talk about what exactly did Jason map out and how effective did that become? And a couple of things that I caught on to that I want to extrapolate from you and push harder. So
okay,
how do these guys get a hold of you?
Best place is the WPChick.com.
WP, we're keeping it.
What am I keeping WP Chick?
Yeah.
Yeah, right now, I've been debating. Trust me, I've had a couple people say, why don't you just go to Kim Doyal? I'm like, we'll see. But so the WPChick.com or leadsurveys.io.
We could put some urgency. So if you're listening to this a year from today, may or might not be there. You might go check it out. If it's there, good job. It still exists. The offer's still valid. If not, you missed out. So head over to WPChick.com right now and see if the offer's still there, to where Kim shows you really cool blog articles. And hey, opt in, right? Get the almost daily newsletter. And Amen. You never know what you'll receive or when you'll receive it. But it's amazing when you do. That makes for a great VSL, by the way. VSL's there. So, all right, guys. Hey, appreciate you checking us out on Kommerce Kings, episode number 5 with Kim Doyal. Now the reveal is here, where you know who Kim is, who introduced me to ClickFunnels, which has been absolutely amazing. If you want to check out what we're doing behind the scenes here shortly, go to mronit.com/VIP, become a VIP member, and check these behind the scenes out. I'll guys see you on the next episode.